In the UK, it's more open, like PDA and such.
So I was praying. Yeah. Some people started mocking me and then they sprayed some water to me.
I don't really plan to try dating apps, you know.
I get nervous sometimes when I talk to British people who...
My name is Arno from France, and in today's video I will ask him Malaysian living in the UK. What it's like to be Malaysian in the UK, what's the difference as well, if you compare Malaysia and the UK, you know, how they are adapting to the UK life. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. If you do enjoy it, please like the video and subscribe as well. It's a big help. And yeah, enjoy the video. Let's do it. So like first of all, can you present yourself, you know, like where are you from, what's your background a little bit, you know?
Okay, hello, my name is Harith, I'm from Malaysia. I'm from the state of Selangor, which is very close to Kuala Lumpur, like the main city.
What it's like being Malaysian in the UK for you?
My first impression is definitely the weather, because in Malaysia it can be very hot, like 30 degrees Celsius, but in the UK it's really cold, it's like 10 degrees, sometimes even 5. So the weather is the biggest impression for me, but also the culture-wise, it's very different. Yeah, in Malaysia, you normally see people wearing headscarves and everything, but in the UK, it's very different. And religion-wise as well, it's very different. Yeah.
For you, it's a bit hard to practice your religion in the UK as a Muslim.
Well, I would say it's harder than Malaysia because the UK, although there's some Islamic communities, it's not the majority. Yeah. But it's still possible. I still find it quite comfortable. It's just quite harder than Malaysia because there's not many mosques as in Malaysia. Malaysia has lots of mosques, but in the UK, I think in Sheffield itself, there's only like 2 or 3. Normally I just pray at home, it's the easiest way, but normally Friday prayers for us Muslims is compulsory, so normally we would go to a mosque and go there on Friday, yeah.
To eat also halal as well. Yes. Is it a bit tricky for you to consume that food in the UK?
I mean, yeah, I would say so, because not many restaurants have like the halal certification. So there are some, in Sheffield there are quite few, but they don't have many options there. So there's like kebabs, you know, much harder. And normally us Malaysian students, we normally cook ourselves. We buy halal meat from like Tesco, and we normally make our own meals. This is the easier and cheaper option. So
you cook yourself as well, yours. You can cook.
I know some friends who can cook. Me myself, I'm not a very
invited.
Yeah, I get invited a lot. I'm not an avid cooker, but you know, thankfully I have some friends who are really good cooks. They make delicious Malaysian food.
For example, if you compare the people, what's the differences with the people, you know, with their behavior, their habits, you know?
I mean, Malaysian people are really friendly. I think UK people are also very friendly as well. Many people I meet in stores and everything, they're really helpful. As I also grew up in both Malaysia and the UK, I feel like they have many similarities in the way they treat people.
What are the differences, you know, if you compare Malaysia and the UK when it comes to the dating culture, you know?
The process is a lot longer in Islam. I'm not really familiar with it that much because there's many rules to it, many levels to it. But in the UK, I'm pretty sure, from what I know from some people, from my friends, it's very straightforward, you know, dating apps and everything. Just meeting people at a bar or maybe like a library or anything. That's the simplest way to meet, right?
Yourself, you never tried dating apps? You never tried those kind of things, or?
I mean, I'm not really familiar with them, no. And I don't really plan to try dating apps. You know, it's not really interesting for me. I've just heard many bad stories, and I don't want to be the person in those stories.
Will you stay in the UK forever, or do you think you might come back to Malaysia someday?
I think I'm definitely going to go back to Malaysia someday. My family's there, lots of my friends are also there, so I can't not go back to Malaysia. I really enjoy Malaysia a lot, and I also enjoy the UK as well. I was born here as well, so it feels like home. But you know, it's my family, so your heart is where your family is. Yeah.
Can you like present yourself, like where are you from and what's your background, you know?
My friends usually call me Kiss, and I'm from Malaysia. I live in Nilai, Negeri Sembilan, but my family recently moved to Penang last year, so I live in Penang now.
So like, what's your impression you're feeling, you know, being Malaysian in the UK, you know?
I'd say the Malaysian community in Sheffield is quite strong. Okay. There are a lot of Malaysians here, so I kind of feel at home, but at the same time, I do have a lot of British friends, other international student friends, so sometimes I do feel like, oh, I'm reminded that I am not in my own country. But either way, I feel like I adapt to it really well.
What's the differences between the UK and Malaysia?
One thing that I find very interesting in the UK is the musicals. Compared to Malaysia, we don't have like musical theatres that much. It's not really like apparent in Malaysia. I'd say like in the UK, there are theatres everywhere. Go watch a Broadway musical, it will change your life. As a Malaysian, it's much more comfortable to mingle and talk to another Malaysian. But I can still talk comfortably with a British person. But sometimes how they talk is a bit too fast for me to understand. So I say the way the Malaysian English and the British English is quite different. I get nervous sometimes when I talk to British people who talks like very fast.
So when you came here, did you struggle to understand British accents?
I do. Like when I first come here, I do struggle a lot. I keep on saying, I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, what? Now I'm in my second year, right? So I feel like I've adapted to it more and I can understand much more. I understand English, the British English, much better than I was like a year ago.
You have a really good English, so how do you learn English yourself? In Malaysia, people are speaking English between each other, or like how does it work exactly?
So English is actually Malaysia's second language. We do learn English since kindergarten, and my family, they do communicate in English as well, kind of like a mix between Malaysia, the Malaysian language and English language. We call that Manglish.
When you are telling British people that you are from Malaysia, what's their reaction, you know?
I have this one friend who, when I tell them, oh, I'm from Malaysia, and their reaction was like, oh wait, do you eat nasi goreng? My mom loves nasi goreng. So nasi goreng is fried rice.
Alright.
Yeah, and in Malaysia, nasi goreng is like very, very popular. It's always about food. When I say I'm from Malaysia, oh my god, I love Malaysia. The food there,
You are wearing the veil as well, you know, the veil?
The dress? Hijab.
The hijab.
Yeah.
Did you not have any bad reaction from British people?
No, actually. I do wear my hijab on always, and whenever I'm with people who's not Muslim, obviously they will be very respectful. Okay. Yeah, they'd be very respectful. If they want to ask something about my religion, they will ask me first, like, are you comfortable if I ask you this question? And the people here are trying their best to make me feel comfortable. They're very respectful with my religion. It's not a struggle.
And what was like the most difficult things for you when you came here, you know?
Sheffield Hills. It is hard to adapt to the hills here. It's crazy. Physically, oh my god, my legs are not trained for that. We don't walk in Malaysia. When I come here, I have to walk like 20 minutes uphill. That's crazy. Nah.
Since you are in the UK, you know, did your attitude change, you know, in comparison when you are in Malaysia?
I think I do change. Yeah, because before this, I'm like not this outgoing. I'm actually quite shy.
Oh, you were really shy before coming to the UK.
I'm not like that anymore. Being here changed me in terms of my social skills. I improved a lot and I gained confidence as well. My appearance changes too. Before this, I don't usually wear like hair clips or jewelry this much. I wear a lot of jewelry. Yeah, but I come here, I wear this like all the time. I always feel like wear a lot of jewelry when I go out.
You don't do that in Malaysia?
No, because I feel like in Malaysia it's quite niche to wear something like extravagant, because you don't see a lot of extravagant dressed up people in Malaysia, but in the UK you see like people who dressed up everywhere. It encourages me to wear something like just go wild, just be you.
What's the most extravagant clothes you would wear, basically?
Do you know like bats? They have wings, right?
Oh wow.
So like clothes that have wings, kind of. Yeah.
Wow.
I have clothes like that.
What's your background and where are you from a little bit, you know?
I'm from Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur to be specific.
What's your impression, feeling, you know, about being Malaysian here in the UK, you know?
First impressions, I would say that it's very different from Malaysia in like landscape-wise, I guess, because when like coming from Manchester Airport back to Sheffield on the train, we will always see like the big fields and like all the sheeps, and I was like, I find it so like so cute. Yeah, because and also because I think back in Malaysia when we ride the train, we would usually see like trees, maybe not so much fields.
And what else is different, you know, in your opinion, you know, if you compare the UK and Malaysia?
I think one of the things that you do with your friends is we would call it go lepak. Lepak, which is like I guess going hang out with your friends, and then one of the hot spots would be like a mama. You get good food, you get good company, and then it's like really good for like camaraderie and like friends. In a different aspect for UK, I guess most people will go to the bar. Yeah, so I guess it will be a bit different there.
So you are wearing the veil as well. So in the UK, did you have like any type of racism or any type of like judgments?
I've been like walking around with my friends, and like alhamdulillah, I found like really good people around me. So I find it like I didn't face racism like specifically because I'm wearing a veil.
British people are welcoming to you. They're not judging you.
I feel stares, but I don't feel like people are just staring at me because like I'm wearing a veil. I feel like people are like just, ooh, who's that? Just like that. I don't feel like it's because specifically because I'm Muslim.
They're saying, who's that beautiful lady?
my God, thank you.
And when you are telling people in the UK, you are telling them, okay, I'm from Malaysia, how they react, you know, when you're telling them I'm from Malaysia? What's their reaction?
During my intro week last year, somebody asked me like, oh, where are you from? And they were like, oh, I'm from Malaysia. And he was like, oh, where's Malaysia? And I was like, do you know Thailand? Is that yes? Do you know Singapore? Yes. We're the big line between them.
So you think a lot of British people, they don't know exactly where Malaysia is?
I think so, yeah, because I think Southeast Asia, in a sense that we're not that known, I guess. People would know Thailand because of Bangkok. People would know Singapore because it's Singapore. Yeah. Maybe like some people would know Vietnam because Vietnamese food is like on the rise.
If you compare the UK and Malaysia when it comes to the dating culture, what's the differences? You know, what's your own experience?
I don't have any experience.
It's forbidden in Malaysia, you can't date, right?
It's not forbidden per se. It's more important in Islam that you approach somebody of the opposite gender for marriage. They would like approach the family first, talk it out. If like both parties agree, then you would get engaged first. I find in the UK it's more open, like PDA and such.
If you see PDA on the street, it doesn't bother you?
Holding hands is like fine, you do you. But then when it does become more extreme, like, oh no, please no. Yeah.
Where are you from and what's a bit of your background, you know?
I'm from Malaysia, and precisely I'm from Kuala Lumpur.
What's your impression of the country? What's your impression, feeling of that country so far, you know?
It was quite chilly, much colder than in Malaysia. Because in Malaysia, it's like the average temperature is like 35, 36.
Wow.
Yeah, it's scorching hot, and suddenly when you come here, it's like 16, 18. So it's like it's in a refrigerator over here, and it is something that I need to adjust, especially on the clothings. With the clothings, it made me more stylish. Yeah, I can style a lot more, because in Malaysia we cannot wear like this. It will be disgusting if we with all the smell and everything. Yeah, it definitely made my wardrobe a lot more interesting.
If you compare like a British person and a Malaysian person, what are the differences, for example, between the two of them? You know,
it's about the confidence that the British people have compared to here in Malaysia, especially in the academic institutions. Students in Malaysia, they are quite shy to voice out their opinions, and compared to here in the UK, they let everyone know what they have in their mind. It is something that I respect about their confidence. They can voice out their opinions freely. That is something that I like about the people in UK.
Did your attitude, behavior change in comparison when you're in Malaysia?
My behavior has changed a lot. Over here, I became the president of Malaysian students in Sheffield. It is a big responsibility and a big shoe for me to fill in. Of course, I need to change from just a regular student into a leader. It takes a lot for me to be more confident, and the surroundings here actually help a lot, because everyone around here is confident to show their opinions. It encourages me to stand firm on my decisions. My social skills also improve. I became a dancer in Malaysia, a traditional dancer.
Would you like to demonstrate a few moves?
Yeah, so something like that. It's like a watery move. Resembles the movement of the water.
Since you are in the UK, have you ever faced some racism, you know, yourself?
There is like no particular form of racism in Sheffield. Okay. But I do experience some in Edinburgh. I was praying at the train station, and it's not like in the middle of the road or something. It's like at the side. So I was praying, and then some people started mocking me, and then they sprayed some water to me. But here in Sheffield, there is like no sorts of racism whatsoever.
It's easy for you to make British friends? It's easy to mingle with the British, or it's a bit more challenging?
I would say it's a little bit more challenging, because I'm an immigrant, and they already have like their own friends that they know from maybe high school or something. So it is quite hard to get to join them. I also did some initiative, which is to join the societies like Frisbee. That way I can still try to get to know them, get to make friends with British people. It's not as close friendship with my friends in Malaysia, but at least I was able to have a conversation, have some food with them, and get to know them lah.
And at the minute, do you have British friends? Do you are still in contact with them?
Not at the moment lah, because they do different kind of activities. For Muslims, we cannot go to the bar, we cannot go drinking. That is their leisure thing to do. After their classes, they will hang out at the clubs, and that is just something that I couldn't do. So I try to, get to know them through sports.
Do you have some advice for the people watching you? Do you have some advice, if people want to come to the UK?
Learn to cook on your own. In Malaysia, we have nasi lemak, and I really miss it so much when I first came here, but I don't know how. And the only places that sell nasi lemak, they charge it for like £10 each. It was very expensive.
How much it costs in Malaysia to have nasi lemak?
So in nasi lemak, it's just like 6 ringgit, which is about 50 pence.